economic crime and some kind of slight physical violence, restorative justice has been very, very successful. But when it comes to sexual violence cases, it has been least applied, least researched, and very difficult to conduct. And for these reasons, restorative justice is very, very complicated. We have talked about the difficulty of the victim with the criminal justice process. Secondary victimization I mentioned. Victim finds it very difficult within the criminal justice system. How many of you would feel comfortable going to a police station? How many of you would be comfortable going to the court? We would not want to. We want to avoid any instance of going to a police station or the court, right? That's because the police might blame us, the fear that some kind of crime might happen against me, right, by these people who wants to safeguard my rights, okay? Sometimes the legal system, okay, legal system meaning the court, the police, the criminal justice system, might feel like trying to talk to someone through 3 or 4 layers of people. Before you meet with the judge, you're going to meet with the low-ranking police officer, high-ranking police officer, then you go to a lawyer, your defense attorney, and then you meet with the judge. So there are different layers within the criminal justice. A person who is giving a verdict in your case, a judgment in your case. Before that happens, you are meeting different people at different levels. Okay? Please go back. I'll tell you that. Please. Okay? Almost like it's there to remove you from confrontational and healing. Right? This is your victim has happened against you. You have been a victim. And this person has been an offender. The matter is between him and me. Okay? This is between 2 people. What is police doing and what are courts doing in this private matter? Right? What is the role of a court or a police in a matter between, in a conflict between 2 people? Why do we have police? Why do we have criminal justice system? Or why do you have Sharia law or any other law in practice? Why do you need somebody to solve your issues? Right? So this is, it has a history. We all agree to elect our governments, give them the authority to protect us. In return, that we gave them the power. We gave some people power to govern us, to protect us, and they are doing that. So whenever a crime happens, it is violation against the state authority, a state's control over its citizens. Now the state becomes obligated, the government becomes obligated to do justice to you because it failed in the first place to protect you, right? If some of my family member has been murdered, now the state also has failed in protecting my family member. Now the state feels guilty for not doing its job. Now it wants to correct it. Okay, that is the process of criminal justice system. Because they fail every time in protecting, now they want to undo the damage in some ways to you. And this process of undoing, reversing the damage caused to the victim, one important way of undoing that is punishing the offender. Sending the offender to jail is one way of criminal justice system responding to the victim. But if I ask you, do victims want their offenders to be sent to prison? What is justice for victim? What is justice? What do you see as a justice for victim? A rape victim, what do you think a justice could be for the rape victim? Now you send the offender to the prison. Will that reduce the harm caused to the victim? Will that heal the wounds? Will that heal the emotional injuries that have happened to the victim? Will that help the victim recover financially? Will it provide any money to the victim if the offender is sent to jail? So this mainstream process, this traditional process of sending the offender to the jail will not do any good to the victim. It is not doing any benefit. The state's purpose is served, but how about the victim's purpose? Who is caring? So the idea that victims are not being adequately served in the criminal justice system is the reason why we have restorative practice. It is also the reason why we have restorative justice, where you have victims' voice heard loud. Okay, victims will be given a voice to tell the offender directly that what happened to me because of you, how I felt when this crime has happened to me. And victims will have several questions. Why did you choose me? Why did you harm me? Causing this harm to me? Why am I? Why am I your target? This is a very common question that victims have in their mind, and they will get to ask the offenders directly. Okay? There will be a direct conversation with the victim about the questions that the victim have. Now, victim will have a chance to recover. Victims will have a chance to heal. And offender will have a chance to confess the guilt. Offender person has done that. Okay? Their side of the story will be shared to the victim. And there is a possibility that there could be some healing happening in the process. In this, offender is not let gone free. Offender will be sent to prison. But there could be milder punishment. Instead of 14 years, there could be 10 years reduced punishment. The offender will be sent to prison. There could be some financial fines can be attached to restorative mechanism. Victim could get some money. Victim could get apology. Victim could get reparation. Right? Most often, victims are not revengeful. Victims do not want to seek revenge for the offender. All they want is to be the abuse to stop, the damages to be recovered, right? To be able to restore back to the previous functionality of the victim is the ultimate goal of the victim or the victim's support. Next slide. Does punishment prevent violence? Does punishment prevent violence? If our criminal justice system is very effective, then why do we have increase in crime rate? Why are crimes increasing every year if punishment is very effective? You also have statistics of crimes, right, in your country. Every year there will be data published about the number of crimes occurred in your country or in your province. Do you see that it's reducing or do you see that it's increasing? Crimes are increasing everywhere, globally, locally, nationally. The crime rate is increasing. But if punishment could reduce, okay, at punishment, criminal justice system is a major response mechanism. Punishment rarely happens anyways. And when it does happen and the assailant is convicted, there is 88% chance of reoffending. If you send an offender to the prison, the chances of this person coming out of the prison and committing a crime again is 88%. Okay? We are answering a question, what purpose does punishment solve? What is the purpose of punishment? One, you're not able to punish properly. Out of 100 cases, you're only able to punish 1%. And even that, when you are punishing, the chances are that this offender will commit crime again is 88%. So meaning punishment is not an effective way of addressing sexual violence cases. The next one. Next slide. So our entire criminal legal system, depending on the idea that punishment will stop violence and enhance safety, is fundamentally flawed. Okay? You cannot trust the idea that punishment will reduce crime rate. Punishment will solve the problems within the society is fundamentally flawed. Does punishment help the person who was hurt? We talked about it. Victim is not benefited by sending an offender to prison. Okay? Next one. So what are alternatives to punishment? So one of the important alternatives is restorative justice. Okay, we will see what restorative justice is very soon. Next slide. The basic assumptions of crime, punishment, criminal justice system are that there are shortcomings of the criminal justice and its incapacity to assure peace in social life. We have discussed about it, right? This conflict of property. If crime could be viewed as a property, I am the owner of my victimization. If it could be seen as a property like a car, like a bike, like a home, if it is seen as a property, I am the owner of this crime that has happened to me. And he is the owner of the crime that he has committed. What is this third person doing? Right? When the lawyer enters in between, he away from both of us. Okay? So lawyers steal. You all when you practice steal the case of two people. Actually, it's none of your business. right? This is how societies functioned in earlier times and solve the issues that happen between them. Even when you look at indigenous laws in your country, the tribal laws that you have, there you do not have police interference or the courts interfering. They have people sitting together and solving their issues. Even the serious cases like sexual violence could be talked out and solved between people. There could be ways in terms of conflict resolution happening in locally. Okay? So now this idea that somebody is hijacking, somebody is taking this conflict away from the owners like victim and the offender, that concept is called conflicts as properties, and conflicts are stolen from the original owners. This idea is given by Niels Christie. He is an abolitionist, meaning he does not want criminal justice system at all. He wanted it to be removed permanently. Next slide. So crime has its origins in social conditions and relationships in the community. We all agree. Crime is bred by the social conditions, the societal status, the economic status, right? How good the society is, and all those factors the crime is dependent on. And crime prevention is dependent on, right? It is not just the lawyer who can protect all of us. Community should also take some responsibility in terms of handling their issues. The importance of informal justice and victim rights movement, restorative justice, is because of dissatisfaction with the traditional criminal justice system. Next slide. So what is restorative justice? So as defined by Tony Marshall, it is the process whereby all parties with a stake in a particular offense, okay? All parties with a stake in a particular offense, it could be any crime, okay? Like it is him and I, right? My family members, his family members, the society that he belongs to, the society that I belong to, my lawyer, his lawyer, we're all stakeholders in this particular crime. All those people come together and talk about what happened, how it happened, why it happened, what should be done next. Okay? So this conversation that happens between the relevant stakeholders of a particular crime. So restorative justice prioritizes repair and healing, repairing the damages and healing the victim instead of punishment. And instead of focusing on which laws were broken, okay, this is what criminal justice system does. This is what police and the lawyers do. What are the laws that are broken? Instead of focusing on that, it focuses on the people that were harmed. Okay, people that were harmed. It could be victim's family. Sometimes the offender's family, offender themselves, were also harmed in the process of committing a crime. Okay, so all those. Okay, so all